What do you think of when you see this red solo cup? Most people think of social events, drinks, or parties. When I see this red solo cup, I think of archery. You see, the opening of a red solo cup is the exact size of the gold ring on a standard archery target. And the goal of any target archer is to nail the gold with an arrow from various distances. So today I want to share with you some of the basic equipment of archery and maybe get you to think of red solo cups in the same way that I do. So one of the most important things in archery is safety. As you guys know, bows are technically considered weapons, which people do use for hunting. So safety is an important part in the sport. One of the first safety equipment that you would need if you wanted to try archery would be the arm guard. This is worn on the bow arm, which is basically the arm that holds up the bow. And this basically protects your arm from any force that the string might exert when it is letting the arrow fly if the string happens to hit your arm. And then the next piece is the finger tab. This is put on the hand that pulls the string backwards, and this prevents the string from digging into your fingers and protects your fingers from the tension in the bow. Now, on an archery range, it is also important to always wear closed-toed shoes, just in case, and to tie long hair back so that it does not get caught in the arrow when it flies off the bow, because that would hurt. After you get your safety equipment, the second most important thing, and probably the most interesting, would be the bow. In target archery, there are 4 main types of bows, and each of them can be customized in different ways to accommodate the archer. So the first is the bare bow. It is by far the simplest type, and it is the one I currently shoot. So this is my bow. It is made up of 3 parts. This middle part, which is called the riser, it's basically just where you hold the bow. These 2 ends, which are called limbs, they determine the tension in the bow, and then you have the string, which basically ties it all together. So you'll see a lot of bare bow archers with this small weight in the front, and it's basically the only thing they're allowed to have attached to their bow. And this weight prevents wobbling of the bow, and it also dampens vibrations when you shoot the arrow, and this makes your shot more steady. So according to the USA Archery Rulebook, a bare bow is technically a bare bow if it does not have an aiming aid and if it fits in a 12.2 centimeter ring. So before any competition, a judge will come around with a ring and run it along the length of the bow. And if any part of the bow touches the ring, you are disqualified and you are not considered a bare bow. So the next bow is one of the most popular ones because it is the only one that is allowed in the Olympics currently. It is called the recurve. Now, a recurve bow is basically the same as a bare bow, but it has two features that make it not qualify in the rule book as a bare bow. The first would be an aiming aid, which is a sight, and so it attaches to the bow right here. So when you shoot, you will basically be looking through a circle, and you will line it up with the gold on the target, and it can be adjusted left or right to compensate for where the arrow hits. And the second feature is that it does not fit in the 12.2 centimeter ring. As you can see in these pictures, there's that long stick in the front. That is called a stabilizer. It basically works as a small weight on the bare bow, but since it is longer and heavier, it technically makes the recurve more stable in the shot. So recurves tend to be more accurate than bare bows. The third is a lot different from the first 2. It's called a compound bow. It is made up of a series of pulleys, and since they are pulleys, they do hold more tension, and so when arrows fly off of this bow, it is a whole lot more powerful and it flies with more speed. So these are generally the bows that people do use for hunting. You'll see that on these compounds there are stabilizers also, just like a recurve, and compounds also have sights, which is there. One different thing about the compound sight is that it can have a scope or magnification. So when you're looking through it, the target will appear closer. So this is generally why compound bows are more accurate than recurves. You'll also notice that there's this blue thing up in the corner. It is called a release. Compound bows use this over a finger tab because the bows do hold more tension. And this works generally like a trigger, so it will attach to the string, and when the archer is ready to shoot, they will press that silver lever up there and it releases the string and then shoots the arrow. The final bow is basically a simplified compound. It is called a bow hunter bow. The only difference is that the sight on a bow hunter bow, as you can see up there, has a lot more things in the middle, which are called pins. And these help them aim because they're not allowed to have magnification in their scope, or in their sight. Another thing you'll notice is that the stabilizer on this bow is a whole lot shorter, because according to the USA Archery Rulebook, it is only allowed to be 12 inches or less. So now once you have your bow, you're ready, you need something to shoot. So this would be the arrow. So in an archery-focused magazine article called Indoor Spots and Indoor Bows, Larry Wise describes two different types of bows, two different types of arrows, and that would be the indoor arrow and the outdoor arrow. And these are generally different because in indoor competitions, archers shoot at a short distance, which is only 18 meters, and in outdoor competitions, they shoot anywhere from 50 to 70 meters, and they also have to account for anything like wind or rain. So indoor arrows, which is like the one on the right, the fat one, are generally made up of aluminum, and they are thicker and heavier than outdoor arrows. This makes the shot more stable since they don't have to fly as far. And outdoor arrows is the thin, small one up there. It's normally made up of carbon. Since it is lighter and it is thinner, it can fly farther faster, so it cuts through the wind. Another thing you'll notice is that the things on the top of the arrow, we call them fletchings, are different on both of the arrows. And you'll notice that on the indoor arrow, it is a lot bigger, and on the outdoor arrows, it is a lot smaller. This is so that if there is wind, the arrow does not get caught too much in the wind in the outdoor arrow. And the outdoor arrows are also, the fletchings are made up of plastic, so that if there's rain, they don't suck up the rain and then get weighed down. The final parts of the arrow, you can see in this diagram, are the point, which is the part that punctures the target, and then the nock at the top, which is the part that attaches the arrow to the string. So something cool about archery, I think, is that you can customize your arrows in different ways. Like you can have an aluminum arrow with like small fletchings if you wanted. I don't think it would work too well, but like you can do it. You can also have arrows that are really short or really long depending on you. So my arrows are generally shorter than a lot of people because I'm really short. And so you can see in this middle picture up there, my bow is the one on the left. It is a lot shorter than the one on the right because his bow is longer because he's like a foot taller than me. So this is cool because you can customize your bow in any way. And so you can make it bigger or smaller, longer or shorter, and heavier or lighter, depending on the person. And this is one of the coolest things about archery, is that you can really adjust the equipment to yourself rather than you having to adjust to the sport. And because of this, you'll see archers of different heights, different sizes, with different backgrounds, and it's really an easy sport to pick up. So I guess now that you guys know some of the basic equipment in archery, you're ready to go to an archery range and choose your equipment. So Saturday nights when you are out and about, possibly on Greek Road, possibly holding a red solo cup, you can think about archery and the archery range that is a little bit farther from campus in Clark Kerr, and how the next morning, Sunday, the archery team and club holds beginner sessions from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Maybe I'll see you there bright and early Sunday morning.